Hello, thank you for Amanda for the introduction. First of all, I would like to say a great evening to all my friends, Amway leaders, builders, and family members of eCVI. I'm so happy to be here today, and I hope everyone is doing great. A special thanks for Damansara eCVI for inviting me to share a topic for tonight, and a very interesting topic indeed, because I remember last year, somewhere near March, when during the first MCO, the pandemic lockdown, I was also invited to share a similar topic. Um, I was like invited to share my view on what's going to happen and what's the impact, what's the opportunity, and the risk, and what's going to happen, and some predictions of that period of pandemic. Now we are talking about anniversary, and what's the difference now and then is that we begin to understand more about COVID-19, and we're also getting used of the new norm. So what's next? Especially when the vaccine has arrived, we need to know what's next. So today I'll consider this topic as a part two, right? It's a continuation from last year topic. Um, I always believe that in order for us to see the future, we have to look at the past because history repeats itself. There are a lot of things that we can pick up from the past and we look at what's happening now, then it's very easy for us to see what's going to happen next. So today I'm going to talk a little bit of the past as a recap. Last year, what happened and what we have done during the coronavirus lockdown, the pandemic, and what's happening now. And as the Amway distributor, we are building this business, right? So what to expect and what are we going to do for the future? So we're going to touch about these three topics, okay? So let's do a recap. Um, Remember somewhere in March last year, we actually have a big lockdown. It's called the MCO. And why we do that is because it seems like the whole world is locking down and to have a better control of the situation. So I call it the phase one. And nobody actually experienced anything like that, not individually, not the government, not a single person has faced what we call a total lockdown. Okay. And you still remember what we do. So when the government announced that, okay, we're going to lock down for 2 weeks, and everyone is like, okay, no panic, everyone is okay. So what are we going to do now? So everyone is like, okay, let's lock down, stay home, okay, cuti di rumah, right? I remember everyone have to take this great opportunity to spend time, quality time with the family members, with the children, right? Everyone cook at home, eat healthy food, and we take hygiene really seriously. We wash our hands, even steps, there are steps to follow. Okay, and then a lot of people start doing e-learning. Kids are having school online. As a worker, we have e-office. People start working at home, and everyone demand a high-speed data, broadband Wi-Fi, and a lot of people invest in devices. The digital devices like the iPad, laptops, and things like that. And also, a lot of people suddenly have no choice but to learn how to do shopping online because last time is not so um, it's not so important for them to do it because I don't find it there's a need to do online because a lot of people still don't feel confident on online shopping because suddenly everything online 100%. Even people rely on delivery like Food Panda, Grab, to deliver products and things like that. And even after the MCO, people still can go out to buy uh, necessary, daily needs. I remember we were allowed to go out 2 person per household or something like that. And we have to keep a distance. Everywhere we go, we keep a social distance. That's what we learn. And also a lot of people become influencer or what I call the YouTuber, right? People start giving free lessons on how to work out online, even give beauty advice, or people, some even, create funny content, so everyone is happy and there is no sense of um, urgency. You know why? Because during the first phase, everyone thought after 2 weeks we will basically back to normal. And the most important thing is the cases are less than 500. Unlike today, we are talking about thousands, right? During the first phase, we are talking about less than 500, and we don't see people nearby near us that are having these COVID stories. It seems like COVID-19 is very, very far from us. Second thing is that the government allow all the citizens to delay their commitment, for 6 months, so you don't have to pay your loan, you don't have to pay your mortgage. So everyone, they don't have a cash flow problem. So everyone says, okay, I still have a job, I have a break, it's 2 weeks, so it's so nice. So basically, everyone take it as a holiday break. I still remember that's phase one. Then after that, it keeps on extending, right? Postponing from phase two, and then we go phase three, and they are what MCO, CMCO, RMCO, CMCO, and now MCO 2.0 again. And there are a lot of new regulations, new SOPs, and U-turn US SOPs, a lot of things that really confuses us. But one thing for sure is that COVID-19 is not going to go away. We realize that, and everyone realized that. So now, if you look at the data, right, US World Economic Forum, they have this article saying that, based on their studies, right, this COVID-19 will at least stay for 3 years. At least stay for 3 years. And for US to start recovering from COVID, it needs at least 3 years. Starting from 2020 is 1 year, then definitely you can see from here, 2021, we're definitely seeing some improvement, but not recovery. So if you ask me, COVID is going to stay for how long? I say, definitely 16 months and above. It's going to be the first, okay? So what do we learn from this pandemic? We have to learn something, right? So I think the most important lessons that everyone learned is that, wow, suddenly people realize there's such thing called passive income and the importance of passive income. Well, just now MC did mention about my background. I used to join Amway as a customer. I never thought of like building it because I don't find there's a need to do it. I was working, in a publishing company. My salary is quite good, and I love what I'm doing, and I don't have a sense of urgency to like change job or change my working environment. So I was like, young, salary quite okay. I'm happy with what I'm doing, so I'm okay. But all of a sudden, from nowhere, Asia has a big crisis called the financial ASEAN crisis. It's the currency crisis. So suddenly we have a break. We have a very great impact. The bank going to collapse. Suddenly all the business collapse. Even my boss, it's a huge corporation, suddenly wants to close down because of the cash flow problem. And there's a lot of people lost their jobs, unemployment, you see everywhere. Suddenly I realized that I nearly lost my active income. Even though I remained my job, but my active income actually was great affected. It was like impacted a lot. And even my boss asked me to go and look for other jobs. So that's really bad. And that's how I learned, in order to control your own destiny, you need to control your income stream. So let's talk about this pandemic. I think a lot of people suddenly realize that, relying on active income alone is not good enough because it can be really, really fragile. So what is income stream? We're talking about the active income and the passive income stream. So look at these two farmers. One is planting vegetables and one is planting fruit trees. right? So let's say durian. All of us know durian takes years. Okay, it could be 7 years in order to to ripen the fruits. But planting vegetables, we're talking about days or even 30 within 30 days you can harvest and you can sell for good money. So when we talk about active income, a lot of people forgot we are actually planting vegetables. The farmer are the same. The only difference is what type of vegetables are we planting. That is the only difference. Some people plant chili padi, some people plant uh, broccoli or whatever, right? So there is a price difference between the vegetables. So everyone look at what is the best vegetables price now, and they will change the plants, but they forget everyone is still a farmer. Once they stop, no income comes in. So this is what happened when the pandemic comes. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of small businesses cannot sustain. So suddenly their income disappeared accordingly. And when they are in panic mode, they try to get a replacement, and that is very, very difficult. So I think this is the one of the greatest lessons that we learned during this pandemic. And people start realizing that actually salary is a 30 days solution. Why? Because we work very hard for 30 days in order to survive the next coming 30 days. So it's always a 30-day solution. We work, we focus on 30 days hard work to earn income to survive for the next 30 days. So when we too focus on this income, we tend to forget there is a bigger problem coming, and that is a 30 years problem. And what's that? It's the retirement. Because a lot of people tend to forget we need to retire somehow, right? There is an expiry date for all jobs. So people are not trained to think that far, and we are not informed to do about retirement. So people tend to like, okay, I'm just focusing on my salary, my monthly salary. I try my best to increase my monthly salary by hopping job or changing job or getting a better qualifications so that I can ask for a better job and so that I can earn a better salary. So these are what people are focusing on. But a lot of people really regret on planning for retirement once they are at the right retirement stage. So a lot of people find that when they are rich at age 50 or so and they are broke, they begin to worry and they say, oh gosh, so what now? So in Malaysia, a lot of people, if you have no plan for retirement, actually governments have a plan for us that's called EPF, right? If you have no plan, government plan for us. But if you have plan, you look at it, what's your plan? Normally people put their money, some of their money into share markets, some even go into fixed deposits, some go into unit trust, Bitcoin or whatever, some rely on heavily on properties, some bought some insurance. So these are good plans. These are good strategies. So you can have a better retirement, better quality lifestyle once we stop our salary. But a lot of people are familiar with all these instruments, but they are not aware Amway is a best platform for retirement. They never have a chance to understand this opportunity. You see, they don't realize a lot of members, EPF members, at the end of the day, when they get the money out, they cannot survive because most of them cannot have even 50,000 at the end of the day. What's now? I've seen something I cannot recall, but because of this pandemic, the government allowed all the members to get their money in advance in account one and two. And I think I see something like that, and there's a news somewhere, I think last month or something like that, saying that I think 30% or 40% of the members has already cashed out their account one and account two because they cannot survive. They have no income. So if you ask me, what do I learn or what we should learn during this pandemic is if you have Amway now or you are doing Amway now, please, please, super focus and build this business, you know, as fast as possible. Because the ultimate goal is to retirement is no longer our problem. I think that is our goal, right? Now, that's so far for the last year. Now let's talk about present. What's now? If you ask me, 2021 is a year of transition. It's a year of transition. Okay. So what do I mean by year of transition? We will basically break a era called pre-COVID or the post-COVID. It's just like the World War, oh, this is like pre-World War or post-World War, that kind of thing. So from 2020 onwards, okay, it's called post-COVID. This year onwards is called post-COVID because there's no way that we are going to go back in year 2019 and earlier years. There goes. It's a history. A lot of people wishing that we can go back to 2019 era. Sorry, we are not going back. It's impossible to go back. Now it's a new norm. It's a new world. It's a new. Everything is new. Changes. So let's face this. The three big questions for us about now. First, vaccine has arrived. What will happen next? You see, the funny thing is, wow, everyone treat vaccine as the silver bullet. Once vaccine down, come really, everyone will be free, so happy, we can back to normal. Not so soon. First of all, there are still a lot of uncertainties, a lot of question marks regarding about the effectiveness of vaccine, and it's still too early stage. We are still at a very early stage to determine what's going to happen. So ask ourselves the following questions. First, can vaccine totally bring us back to normal lifestyle? Can vaccine totally bring us back to the normal lifestyle? Sad to say, I would say nobody knows. You see, a lot of doctor friends, or I read a lot from reports, they say now the vaccine, the effectiveness of the vaccine is still not satisfactory. And there are a lot of question marks. Okay? You see, some reports say that after taking the vaccine, they still get COVID-19. There are many cases they get infected again. So is it effective enough to get everyone back to normal? Well, we don't know yet until we have more data to say that. Okay? So for now on, we just assume this vaccine is good enough to prevent us from getting COVID-19. But we still need to look at the data. Okay, still very early stage. Second thing, is this vaccine stable? You see, for a normal vaccine to come out into the market, normally it takes about 3 to 4 years. But this super vaccine for COVID-19, we work very hard. It can push out within 1 year. So a lot of things is not stable. It's not a lot of things is not. We don't have enough data to make a conclusion yet. So let's assume if the vaccine is very effective, then how soon can we reach 80% of the population? Because we need to cover at least 80% of the population to be considered safe. And there is something about vaccine is that we need to keep on taking the vaccine because it will not stay very long. Even those people who are infected by COVID-19, the immunity they have can last about 6 months. They can get COVID again. So how soon can we cover in Malaysia for 80% of the population? Based on the response and the supply, I think 2021, we cannot reach 80%. I would say probably it needs another year, 16 months to 24 months, probably. So if let's say we cover 80%, are we on the same page with the global progress? How about our neighboring countries? Are they doing the same thing? Are they having the same coverage? If not, then global traveling will be limited, right? So if you talk about countries that everyone is like, oh, everyone well covered, at least 80%, then probably we are safe to say that, okay, now everyone is on the same page. If not, we have to wait and see. Now, again, there's another big question mark is how effective are these vaccines against the mutated virus? Well, the interesting thing is, I read something about there are now, to date, okay, to date, there are now 5 new mutated viruses, 5 new brand mutated viruses that cannot be detected, and it also affects people who took vaccines. So those people who took vaccines got the new mutated viruses, and you know they they just couldn't know um, until they pass away and people start diagnosing them and realize that there's a new mutated virus. So I'm talking about, is this vaccine good enough to capture the new mutated virus? Big question mark. So you see, the most worrying mutation in 5 emerging coronavirus. So this is the report I was mentioning. So from here we can see, thinking positively, if the vaccine is effective and the supply is fast enough to cover 80% of the population, and the vaccine is good enough to prevent the mutated viruses, we take about 16 to 18 months to cover all that. So from here, I can make a prediction that 2021 is not still safe yet. 2021 is not safe yet. 2022, next year, probably we will see a big bounce back next year, but not this year. So the second question is digitizations and technology going to stay during this COVID-19? So first of all, we have to understand 3 things. This COVID-19 pandemic has already changes the consumer behavior, the business behavior, and the business operation behavior. It has already completely changed. Ask yourself, now are you feel very comfortable doing online shopping? Are you feeling comfortable, very comfortable to order, food delivery, Food Panda, Grab Food, or it's so convenient. You're so used to it. Are you feeling very normal to use e-wallet? I think we are pretty okay. Okay, I can send Grab Pay to you. I can transfer money to Touch and Go. So people's consumer behavior has changed, and nowadays, even myself, I'm not too keen to go to shopping mall. They say, hey, go and hang kai lo, go and do shopping mall. So, don't want. I rather stay at home. People prefer to go, you know, uh, not so crowded places, right? So a lot of people are now going to digitalization. They use smart devices to do things. Even consumer don't mind learning new tricks. So this pandemic actually speed up the high-tech era. A lot of people now picking up, even uncle aunties, they are forced to use smartphone. They are forced to use this MySejahtera to scan, to use apps. So now they are happily, they can survive in digital world now. Even my mom, she's like a pro now. She knows how to use her handphone, use apps, she can do that and that. But before this pandemic, she's very reluctant to learn all these apps and digital technologies. She's okay. So the second thing is that, how about business behavior? Well, I'm sad to say that if you go outside nowadays, you see like, wow, there's traffic jams, a lot of people going out to spend money, they dine in restaurants. But do you realize a lot of small businesses, the restaurants, the retail, are not in full 100% operation capacity? We are talking about 40% only. Because of the limitations, the SOP, they are only allowed at the 40% capacity. As you know, as a business operation, there is always a cost. If you can only operate at 40% capacity, so how much can you earn? In fact, a lot of small businesses are surviving, they're struggling, they're in surviving mode. So it's very, very difficult. And a lot of them cannot diversify. They cannot transform from the old way, old fashioned way into digitization. Too costly, not easy, and the business nature don't allow them to do this transformation. So you see a lot of shops cannot survive and still bleeding, I would say. So I would say during these 2 years, those who transform and they make use of this opportunity and merge with digitalization, they can survive and make it. I think today's news, Asia, they are going to diversify their business model. They're going to compete with Grab. They're going to do e-hailing business, and they're going to do food business. They're going to do delivering business. And Tony Fernando says, we have learned so much from Grab, and we know we can beat them. So these people are learning, and they are transforming the business behavior. Interesting era. Now, how about the business operation? You see, during this pandemic, I learned something very, very interesting. Those business size that is a small size business size can survive. For example, if you compare to this big shopping mall with small mini market, like family mart and things like that, these people are doing very good business. If you compare the shopping mall, those small little cafe, okay, these small little cafes, small little restaurants are doing well if you compare to those giant franchise. A lot of big public listed companies which in restaurant business goes down. They cannot survive because the operation cost is too high. So this is very interesting. And 2 weeks ago, I was listening to this BFM news, and there is an interview on this Malaysia SME, and the president of this SME actually give information. He says that last year 2020 basically caught everyone by shock, and regardless what size of the company, the corporations, everyone is using the cash reserve, to survive. They try to survive. So 2020 basically already dry up all their bullets, their reserves. Those who tak boleh tahan already close shop. So all the big guys or the medium-sized people are still surviving, but 2020 already dried out their cash reserve. So when it comes to 2021, people ask him, so how is SME doing? Are they feeling optimistic and things like that? Well, the shocking news is that, well, based on what the current SOP, when they are allowed only 40% of the capacity, which I just mentioned just now, most of the SME cannot survive till September. 90% of them will go bankrupt. I got a shock, but I think about it, it really makes sense because with 40% capacity, how are they going to cut corners? There's no way they can make a living, and they are still struggling. So this is going to happen. This year is not going to be too optimistic. You can see some improvement, but don't be happy yet. I think another storm is coming. So how about our Amway business? Well, if you base on these 3 questions, I think first of all, Amway is doing extremely well. Amway has already get themselves prepared for all digitalizations. They turned into digital platform many years ago. So they are doing well, and we are doing well too because of this unemployment rate shooting up. You can see last year they are actually doing very well compared to 2020 versus 2019. We have a strong sales, new ABO sign up, about 320,000 within 1 year, and it doubled up online sales compared to last year. The year 2019. From 27%, it shoots up to 53%. and the online orders ship 1.1 million plus per month. So, and for the digital support, the e-learning, Amway has, give so much of investment into e-learning, the virtual training from MCO, CMCO, RMCO. They have dumped in so much capital to bring the learning to us, to support all the ABOs. Total of 995,000 overviews. That's amazing. And we did it, with the MA privileged customers. There's 34,000 plus of new APC sign up. And the new sign-ups total, we increased 420% compared to 2021 January compared to January 2020. The sign-up rate has shot up to 420%. So you tell me, are we doing great? Definitely, because we are doing business, but we don't have to commit big running costs. Our business operation cost is very minimal. Okay, we are fully supported by Amway in terms of all the technologies, all the digitizations and things like that. And because of the big environment, people are facing job loss, the salary cuts and things like that. So everyone's looking for second income, supplement income, or they're even looking for a platform to earn money. So all these actually helps our business. And even the Core Plus comes in handy. A lot of people start earning money, even for the new ABOs. When they first sign up, they can easily earn 10% of the CSI. So Core Plus comes in timely and handy. So it makes everyone happy. And now Amway move forward, they also foresee in future, big rally is not going to be easy. So everything will go to virtual. And that's why they convert our training hall into virtual studio. And it allows ABO to rent, to do, the big green screen, So interesting. Amway is really up to date. Okay, he knows what we need. And they invested, not cheap, all these equipments are not cheap. But he gave us all this support. So think about it. If we have a great giant partner like that, right? So do you think we can do it? Definitely, we should do it, right? We should make Amway our proud partner, and we should be successful as soon as possible. So let's talk about the last part. What's next? Now, gather all the information, we come to a conclusion, right? So 2021 is still not going to be like, okay, this year is going to be completely safe. No, I don't think so. I think there's a storm coming, and also there are a lot of uncertainties. As you can see, the tension between countries and countries are still there, very high. Also, you can see there are trade wars going on, exactly like last year. The only difference is that we have vaccines. We know better about COVID-19. We can handle better. If you see there's a situation, now everyone is experienced. And in Malaysia itself, now I would say that it's still okay. If they're still blessed, there's not much problem. But again, it's not safe. Okay, so with that, we have to think, if I am an Amway business owner now, what should I do? I think we have to fine tune our attitude. You cannot be too lazy now. You have no choice. You have to work very, very hard. You have to super focus and also make the right choices, because this is the time you determine your life. Seriously, seriously. So I would like to share this. If you look at this diagram, right, it actually tells us our structured income. You see, if we break down all our bonuses, excluding the Core Plus, right, the performance bonus and the Ruby bonus actually requires to do a lot of volume in selling and sponsoring. So this is what we call the basic work. So As an ABO, a new ABO, you should focus on selling and sponsoring. This is what you should do. You should focus on sponsoring, getting more people in, and also do a lot of selling. But please, not forgetting to develop leaders. Because in order for us to enjoy the 6% leadership, we need leaders and we need to develop leaders. And that's where I see a lot of people facing challenges. You see, I always hear people saying that, oh, I got no problem in selling, I got no problem in sponsoring, but I got problem in training leaders or sporting leaders and things like that. I tell you what, if you're going to do it individually online, it is even harder to do it offline. Remember last time when we have this, the offline system, they have all sorts of supporting system that they can feel motivated, they feel the bonding, ESP, ADT, right? We have this MAD. So all these program actually helps us to mold a leader easily because they can feel the atmosphere. But now, since everything is online, if we can tell a good story about OPP and influence a newcomer, he says, yeah, I see the MD value and I want to do MA, I join you. But to make them a leader, you find it quite challenging. That is why I'm so glad ECBI is so powerful. From last year till now, you know how much the federal has pumped in the money to support us. It's not easy, it's not easy. It costs us a lot of money to pay Zoom meeting alone. You know how much they spend on Zoom? And then you know how difficult to get all the trainings, all the quality trainings online. If you are not united, if you don't have all the great leaders, trainers, and we work as a family, it's very difficult to deliver all these platforms. So I am very proud of ECBI. The way I look at it, last year, they do so much to support our business. But are we using all these resources? Do we feel um, appreciate? Are we appreciate? You know, do we show our gratitude to ECBI? I think if you know what I'm talking about, please, all these good quality trainings, we need to full using it by getting involved. Okay, so building leaders is very important. But once you have leaders, right, now as an upline, we need to build that. And normally we do a lot of motivations, cheerleader jobs, we cheer them up, we organize activities, we motivate them, recognitions and things like that. And that's where we earn our in-depth bonus. So to make people see this picture more visualized, you can see things clearly. I put this perspective. I think a lot of people have seen this. We talk so much about ESPI. Oh, ESPI, Robert T. Kiyosaki, cash flow. So let's talk about ESPI. When we talk about ESPI, right? Do you know that we can also apply this in Amway income? When we talk about E and F, right? So E is somewhere from 0% to 21%. 0% to 21%. I will call this income like the E income. Okay? Because we don't have downlines, we don't have builders. So we our volume is based on customers. Okay, APCs, ABOs, we are building volume. So we earn this income actively. So once we stop our work, the income will stop too. So it's basically an active income. It's called a performance bonus. So what's the difference between S? S is self-employed, right? Self-employed. But somehow you are 21%, probably you are founder platinum or you are platinum. Because you have now built some builders like 12%, 15%, 18%. So your 21% is built by this foundation. So we can actually enjoy our income more consistent compared to E. But again, this is considered active income. So if you really want to enjoy Amway security, we have to move from S to B. And what is B? B is now we have created or we have leaders. That is, we have S, we have some the DDs on the platinums in our team. And that is why we start earning passive income. Leadership bonus is more sustainable. And if we build their deep the line and we have profit sharing, because like an investor, we invest our time and effort to build that, then we start enjoying the 1% and 0 to 2.5%. So you see, basically, if I put it into this perspective, you can see things better, right? So if you ask me now, what should I do next? I think we should focus on transforming ourselves from E to S quickly, meaning not only we have to do selling, but we need to build out our potential leaders. So Amway already helped us on this. So there are these what we call the core legs, right? The core plus leaders. So we have this bronze builder, bronze foundation. So these are the areas that we need to build. So when we talk about this, right? I see a lot of people they say, oh, bronze foundation, I want to enjoy the bronze foundation bonuses. So I'm going to give them some legs. Okay, I'm going to pump some APC for them so that they can enjoy the bonus. I would strongly recommend you to forget about this idea if you really want to build builders, because they have to learn how to manage. They have to do a lot of personal coaching and training to build real builders. This effort actually is rewarding because we will move from E to S. And once we pick up the skill, we can start moving from S to B. That's Amway. So my advice is don't really focus on the bonus itself, but the meaning of the structure. What is the real meaningful thing to do, okay, during doing the coaching and mentoring? Our future relies on structure. So I would like to end this sharing with this wonderful clip I found in the internet. I'd like to share this to you, and I'll do my conclusion. Please enjoy.
There are 3 types of people in this world. Watch this video to find out which one of the types of people you are and what that means for you. So the first type of person is called a stressor. The stress is determined. The stressor wants to get to this goal. They start taking action, they start moving towards their goal, they start saying, okay, yeah, I'm getting closer. And then at some point, they hit what we call a plateau. So what do they do in order to move to the plateau? They stress out. They literally go, oh my God, okay, how do I do this? Should I try this? Okay, maybe I try this. Okay, let me try this way. Okay, everyone else, get out of my way. Eventually, they have a breakthrough. So they're off again and they're off on their journey and they're working really hard until eventually they hit another plateau. They repeat the pattern and they continue to stress out. Now, the good thing about the stressor is that they have a lot of perseverance often, so they do actually achieve their goal. Yet, if you're a stressor and you're seeing this pattern within yourself right now, ask yourself, is this really the most sustainable way to live your life? So the next type of person is called the dabbler. And so just like everyone else, the dabbler takes massive action and off they go. They start going for it, they start getting closer to their goal, and then eventually what happens? They hit a plateau. Now, here's the thing, the dabbler does something a little bit different to the stressor. The dabbler gives up. And the dabbler says, you know what? This actually wasn't for me. That's not my thing. I didn't really want that goal. You know what? I'm gonna try this other thing over here. And so they start something new. And off they go and they start something new and they're working towards their goal, and then eventually they hit a plateau. What happens? The dabbler says, well, that wasn't my thing either. In fact, watch me do this. I'm gonna make it like this. Here we go. And they start out and they start doing this new thing, and you see how the pattern keeps repeating. Now, the sad thing about the dabbler is that often they don't actually achieve their big goals because they're constantly restarting something new in a hope that maybe one day they'll make it. And then there's a third type of person, This type of person is called an achiever. And this person does something quite different to the stressor and quite different to the dabbler. So the achiever starts off and they start taking massive action, and off they go, they're moving closer towards their goal, and then what happens? You know the story. They hit a plateau. Now, what's different about the achiever is that they do not stress out at this point in time, and they definitely do not give up. The achiever does something different here. Step number one, the achiever firstly stops. They stop. Secondly, they reconnect with why they want to get to this big goal. It's in those moments of the plateau that they reconnect to the big reason that's actually driving them to the goal. Step number three is that the stressor finds someone who has either gone through this plateau or who has helped someone go through this plateau before. And when they find that person, they tell them, look, I'm going through this plateau right now and it's hard and I'm struggling and I'm overwhelmed. And that person, that mentor, that coach who's been through that before says to them, oh, listen, achiever, I remember that plateau. Here's what you need to do. Stop doing this, start doing this, stop doing this, start doing this. The achiever says, thank you so much. And they go and they take action and off they go and they get closer to their goal. And then what happens? Just like every other human, they hit a plateau. But once again, they follow the steps of the achiever instead of stressing out and instead of giving up. And what this means is that the achiever not only reaches their big goal, they do it with ease. So the big difference between the achiever and then the other types of people is simply that the achiever follows in the footsteps of the people who've been there before. I know for many of you, you've maybe associated with being the stressor or being the dabbler. And I want you to know that people are not their behavior. People are not their behavior, and you have a choice right now as to which type of person you choose to become. So if you're choosing right now from this moment to become an achiever, comment below and let me know that you're committed to being an achiever in this world. There are three.
So I think this is a very meaningful clip to end my sharing. I hope everyone, if you have struggled in the last few months, I think it's time for us to stop and reconnect to our upline, active upline DD, or our platinums, or our diamonds. Reconnect to them, seek for advice, okay, and learn from the past. Think about the future, but live now. Now is most important because we can think about the future, but without doing anything meaningful right now, your future is not there. So I'll end my sharing here. I hope everyone is a great achiever for this year. Thank you.